Hello everyone, Dan14 Prime here. I want to do another video shout here on the XM Rodimus Prime statue. And this one just kind of quickly want to do the comparison with the Imaginarium art piece over here. Which again is I think a fantastic standalone Transformers statue. I'll say straight off the bat, if you're looking to kind of collect a line of Transformers, you want to go XM for a number of reasons. But definitely just the overall quality and consistency of the line is definitely better. Imaginarium art did some pieces absolutely fantastic. Some really great pieces there. The Soundwave, phenomenal. The Ultra Magnus, some of the very early ones. I'd count this piece up there with one of their better 3 or so. The Grimlock they did recently is pretty damn good as well. Got a video out on the channel of that as well. But then some of the other pieces are just like really bad, like the Optimus Prime in the Megatron in particular, which are two you want to be really good, really aren't so great. They've got a Starscream on Throne that's pretty good too, actually. So that might be one of their better few as well. But the line overall just had different issues. But it does do a nice G1 contemporary design. They do this metallic paint scheme typically, which works well on this piece. Not so well on other pieces like Optimus or Megatron even. Definitely not on Optimus. But this thing, if you're looking for like a Rodimus statue, is very, very good. Is very, very good. One of their better pieces. I have this guy right now in what's his not best pose, frankly. Just kind of switching stuff up. It does make use of this big rifle, which is very cool. But overall, it's kind of a little bit wonky with the arm up. This head, the piece kind of suffers from small head syndrome overall on both portraits. This one, I think, makes it even worse. But when you compare the two, which is not going to be easy to do, when you have two giant 30-inch statues side by side, this piece does some things really well. I kind of like the metallic look on Rodimus. It works. It makes the statue really pop. So I think that's something really cool to think about with this piece. I think some of the accents they did, callbacks to Rodimus, are stronger on this piece. The flame on the chest, a bit more black on the legs. For me, that's in my mind's eye. Like Rodimus has, black legs, so a bit more here versus over here. There's less black feet and stuff. Some accents I could have done with maybe this piece as well. Being black maybe would have helped them out, just to pull that through for me. But pretty tame on the chest, as I mentioned in the video for this piece as well. So something bolder there would have been cool. And then the big wing, this piece kind of leans back a bit. But this piece has really got a big, bright yellow, bold accent wing. Over here, good size. Just come around this way. Good size, like I was saying. But, it's just that flat finish. Doesn't pop, like over here. This thing really pops. It's a bright yellow, even more contrast with the red center and stuff like that. So you really, really notice it. So some of those things, I think, really make this piece over here with Imaginarium art really just aesthetically eye candy. That the finish being glossed like that, and then just how they do some of the call marks that you'd expect to see for Rodimus, really, really make it pop. From a design perspective, there'll always be some personal choice, which of these sort of looks you like. I think both are good. Both sort of call back to G1 enough for me. This is a bit more stylized. This kind of almost a bit more cleaner and almost more G1 true. Again, in terms of their poses, this isn't like the big iconic pose that makes this statue great, but they do a nice piece here. This little turntable rotates so you can accommodate some of the different angles that you might want to use with this pose versus the other pose. Whereas over here, you're kind of locked into this type of look, which I've numerously complained about. The line overall, some of the poses they're doing don't necessarily make sense. It's not as bad with Rodimus, but still it's kind of like the random torso twists and head cocks and looking off into the side or somewhere that's kind of like not really the best way to display a statue, in my opinion. The whole line kind of suffers from it, save for a few pieces. So there's that to think about in terms of the design as well. But both, I like both in terms of the G1 look. And when we come to this guy, we have this, which is the main display for the piece and is just super iconic to the 86 movie. And, you know, frankly, probably one of the best designs executed, pulled through in a statue of like any Transformers statue that's been made. And certainly way up there. Just calls back exactly to that 86 movie, to that moment, and is pretty freaking cool. So hard to beat that kind of design. So this is really iconic. Again, if you're looking for like one sort of piece, this gives it a big leg up as just being really something kind of cool and special. And I'm not in this table, and kind of how I'm standing freehanding is not the best way to kind of get some of the display angles. But I've got a whole video out there. You can go and look at it. This piece suffers from like just dead eyes when the lights aren't on. So that's a bit of a challenge. Again, it looks better when got a touch thing. The lights come on, they're blue. The matrix will light on. Like I said, the video's out there, so that hasn't come on. But that's what this piece does really awesome. I mean, you get super iconic pose here, particularly if you're like an 86 movies fan and a Rodimus fan. Like that is, doesn't get much better than that right there. The metallic sort of paint, I think, and the call marks for Rodimus really pop on this guy. So he's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Again, I think I mentioned already, or if I hadn't, it's in my review, like kind of small head syndrome, a little bit undersized portrait, I think, on this piece. Not as bad in this display, in this setup. It's a separate head here. It does a little bit better. Again, the piece has got a bit of a lean back into it. You know, he's really kind of looking to the sky. So you don't notice it as much in this configuration. So I think overall it balances a bit better too. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for just like a Rodimus statue, a Transformer statue, forget the lines overall. Like this piece is really competitive. I think you got to be thinking about it. Never mind, you can get this for, I don't know now because it's aftermarket, you know, but I probably got it for $1,200 to my door or something like that, versus all these XM pieces are like $2,000, right? So big price difference there as well. And this guy's, again, plenty tall, like he's like 29 inches, I think, to the top of that matrix. So very good size as well, though not as big as him. You know, the size difference is probably just like 10% or so. You know, a couple inches in height probably, and just 10% mass kind of around the chest or legs in different areas, arms. So still a big statue. So that's the advantages, is that's what that guy does really well. It's what I love about that piece. This piece here, again, I talked about in the video, but you get all of XM's just overall quality, right? So this is in part of an overall better line. If you like this design, more contemporary, a bit more stylized, it's very good. Nice theme here, again, with the Unicron and stuff like that. It's all done very good as well. Nice call marks here as well. I think done better over there, but you still get some of those Rodimus Prime, you know, flame on the chest, big yellow wing kind of stuff, and they still pop. They're still bold. They're just probably not as bold as the Imaginarium art piece. And then we just talk about, you know, materials and sturdiness and assembly and paint quality. It's no competition. Imaginarium art pieces suffer from a lot of that. The materials, sometimes some materials are cheap. Like this guy's hands are kind of plasticky. The way things kind of peg together, not as sturdy. Not a lot of rods in play here. Just a lot of like magnets, connections, and lots of smaller parts too. All of these legs kind of stack up. It's almost like scary, like Tetris thing you're stacking up. Whereas over here, this is like one giant piece and just one other leg. So just built, sturdier, tougher, better paint. I think I've owned 3 Imaginarium art statues. 2 of them have had major paint issues. This is the only one that's come out clean and good. So those reasons, obviously, just as a XM as a brand, and this piece as well will be better than Imaginarium art. But yeah, I just want to kind of voice over some thoughts, since I can do the comparison. I've got both pieces. I don't know, a lot of people do. So if you're looking for one, you know, a few thoughts on each here. I'll have videos out there on each as well, so you can kind of see a bit for yourself, but at least want to give you my side-by-side voiceover on these pieces as well. It's closer than you think, and definitely this piece still has strong consideration to be in your collection. You know, if you're not like generally committed to doing a whole other line like I am, basically doing all of the XM line. So And just quickly, I'm going to give you the proper Rodimus view of this piece. But again, check out the review back on the channel. This is really their number one shot at Rodimus. Everything I had set up before was more their hot rod get up, which again was a bit of a complaint on this piece. It gives a bit of equal hot rod vibes, you know, particularly with the proximity piece. Then Rodimus Prime kind of vibes. As I mentioned in his review, other than the size of this guy definitely being geared for Rodimus Prime, it probably does hot rod a bit better overall as a total display piece with the other configuration I had up in his alt mode than he really does Rodimus Prime, which is, again, another consideration for this guy versus what you get over there. All right, guys. So again, just some thoughts here, mainly separate videos on each of these. So just voiced over some thoughts. Give me a shout in the comments if anything else missed or you have questions about. Again, check me out on Instagram, same handle, Dan14 Prime. I'm doing most of my statue kind of collection, share out, and things like that these days than YouTube. But again, like I said, I thought I'd put one out here for this guy because I've got them both to share. So share that info out into the community. Thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. I'll see you next time.